Welcome back to Real Conversations with Nora for our 11th episode. Our topic of discussion this week is developing the right mindset while managing your emotions. Joining me today is my dear friend and mentor, Gloria Mayfield-Banks. I consider her an expert on developing the right mindset and managing your emotions. Thank you, Gloria, for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to be here, Nora. You know how much I love you, and you know how much I love the work of Businesswomen on the Move for God. So I'm very excited. And I love the title. Are you sure we're talking real conversation or just conversation?
Real conversation.
Okay. Real.
So share with the audience your thoughts on how to develop the right mindset while managing your emotions, because we know that women, we tend to be more emotional than men, and
Right.
we tend to operate from our emotions, which is not always a very good place to do that. So share with us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I love this topic because I really do consider myself a emotional management expert, and that does not mean that I don't have anxiety, because right now I'm at the height of anxiety with everything that's going on in the world. I can honestly say that, but I know that. And so I think I'm an expert at it too, because I've taught a lot of people how to learn to manage their emotions, which is a requirement for a mindset shift. It's a requirement for a mind shift, so that you can get in the right place. So I'll give you a couple of things that I do that makes a difference. The number one thing I would say is that I understand the importance of it. I think that people will put their attention in many different places, and you will always put your attention where you think you're going to have the greatest benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, emotional management has a great benefit because I have seen myself not pay attention to my emotions and be long gone, way down the road. I tell people it's like driving on the expressway. And when the emotions pop in, you start going 15, 20, 25, 30 miles an hour more than you're supposed to. And the next thing you know, you're supposed to get off, but you can't get off because the exits are flying by you so fast and your emotions are just got you all messed up. And before you know it, you're in Georgia. And you had started out in Massachusetts. And you're like, what in the world? You know, you forgot to eat the Kentucky Fried Chicken that was on the seat next to you because your emotions were too crazy. So the first thing I know is that emotions are important, and poor emotional management is very expensive. The most important, the most expensive party is a pity party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go from emotional management and you talk about a mind shift, the mind shift is what you use to take you where you want to go.
Mm.
Like I talked to somebody yesterday and they said, I am done with not having the income to make the choices that I want to make. I want to make different choices. It's not so much that I want to make more income, it's that I need the income to make the choices. Well, that's a mind shift. Mm-hmm. That is saying that I feel I want to give myself and my family different type of experiences, even if it's more food, if it's less stress,
Mm-hmm.
if it's getting rid of debt, whatever it is. That was a very conscious decision. And so to make a good mind shift, you have to be conscious of your mind, which causes you to be conscious of your emotions. Mm-hmm. And so I think that I happen to know that if you want to change your circumstances, it starts with the mind. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, great. That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you have done to create the right mindset while dealing with your emotions? Because Neil said she didn't have any emotions. I said, oh, yes, she did. You just said that early on. I won't say the person's name, but okay.
Woo, that's funny.
Now, so what are some of the things you have done?
It's important. Everybody has emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has emotions, but everybody is different in how they deal with their emotions, you know? And like you said, even men and women act differently. I think wisdom has a lot to do with people's ability to handle their emotions. So I've said this for a very long time. 90% of what you worry about doesn't come true. 90% of what we worry about. Now, that does not mean I don't worry. But
Right.
I do say, the other thing I say, probably even more than that, I say, if you're going to worry, don't pray. And if you're going to pray, don't worry.
Right.
Because you really gave it over to God.
Right.
When you're worrying about it, takes it back from him.
Right.
Like literally in my head, I have vision. So that's another thing that I do in terms of my emotional management and my mindset. I have a vision that I gave it to him and then I took it back.
Right.
I need the visualization to stop myself from doing those kinds of things.
Right.
So it really makes a difference for me that there's a couple things that I do. So I'm glad that you asked. Okay. One thing I know that music is the fastest way to shift your emotions and put you in a different place so that you can create.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I did it the other day. I felt, I know I'm not supposed to listen to the news, and I listen to the news because I want to know what's up, and then the news takes me down, and I'm like, oh, right. So I immediately put in my earplugs and I turned up the music and I started cranking, because the shift.
Right.
Things I had to do. I had a to-do list, and people are dependent on my excellence. You know that people are dependent on your excellence. You cannot. I can't afford it. When I chose to be a leader, I can't afford to get caught up in emotions that take me down a road that will allow me to decrease my effectiveness.
Right.
So I listen to music, number one. Number two, I do know that if I start to cry, you got to get in the shower. I'm just talking to you women that are here for real conversations. It's hard sometimes. I mean, kids in school, not in school, making big decisions, cooking more than ever. Everybody's eating all your food, man. It's like, why don't you go back to it? It's just sort of funny what we're all dealing with. So if you get to the point that you feel like you need to start crying, you need to immediately get in the shower. Immediately get in the shower, let the water run over you, have a good cry, come out of the shower, put your makeup back on, Mary Kay preferably, and put on some bright colors, because bright colors will cause you to brighten your inner spirit. And you cannot give joy until you have some joy.
Wow.
Number three, I tell people all the time, do something for someone that's really nice that will cause them to smile when least expected. And I do want to wave a flag that says, we have to go beyond text messaging. Text is good. Text with a picture is better. But a note in the mail, like Nora gets an A++++, because she sends pictures in the mail. I just got one last week, me laughing, and I opened it up immediately. I'm like, oh my God. I started crying. I didn't cry. I started laughing because it made me realize you were thinking about me when I didn't know you were thinking about me. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
yes.
And it's amazing how we always get those things when we need them.
Right.
So I started laughing right away. The picture of me was laughing. It took me back to the place when the picture was taken. I mean, there's just so many things that we can do. A handwritten note. It doesn't take a lot of words. It can say love you, and it makes a massive difference. So giving gifts, or giving of your time, or right now when you pick up the phone and call people, right now we're so used to sending a text or something on somebody's birthday, and it gets to be a little bit much, but still, it's the phone calls that sometimes make a difference. So I think those things are what I do when I need to shift my mind.
Okay, good. That was good. Good. So how do you trigger positive emotions when you're dealing with negative thoughts?
Okay, that's really good. Okay, so I want to tell you what I consider to be the most important emotion to create a positive energy towards a mind shift, and that would be passion. I think passion is one of the most powerful forces that one can use to make a shift. And you need a force if you want a shift. Momentum is a force. Energy is a force. Excellence comes from the force of energy in the right direction. So passion is really important. Now, here's the thing. When you are choosing to be successful, you choose to find the passion. You don't wait for passion to appear, because it doesn't just show up. It is something that you are in tune with, that's important. I know what makes me passionate. I know what doesn't make me passionate.
Right.
I know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. And the other thing is judgment and judging others decreases your ability to be passionate because you're focused over there on something that have nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're judging them and you're talking about them and you're decreasing your ability to create passion within yourself. But if you stay focused on you and you really know your worth, and that's a whole nother conversation, Nora, about real conversation is knowing your worth.
Mm-hmm.
But when your passion is really important to you,
right,
you can really grab hold on it and not go into all these other conversations about, well, why aren't I passionate about that? No, I get passionate about the race.
Mm-hmm.
I get passionate about competition, and I don't apologize about it.
Right.
I'm unapologetically powerful
Mm-hmm.
in my quest to win.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one, because that I sent Sabrina something the other day, and she said, "Dang, you can knock out a book," because my book is just about finished. But
Yes.
I'm passionate about it. I'm so passionate about it. I'm passionate about writing, and the thing that drives my passion is when somebody told me I would never be able to write, and I'd never be a good writer. So every time I write, I think about her, and I write even more. So something that ignites that passion, I agree with you, inside of you that makes you want it. Like you said, you're unapologetic about the race.
Right.
You like the competition.
Right.
And we need to get to that place where we're unapologetic about what it is that we're passionate about. It doesn't matter what other people think.
Right.
It matters what drives us. That was very good.
No, I want to say that when that happens for a person, the way they reignite it is when they discover that when they use their passion to push them, the
Mhm.
gifts come out of them.
Right.
The gifts of your writing
Right.
come out of you.
It so does.
See that it's such a gift to people, it causes you to do more of it.
Right.
My competition, my competitive fever causes me to be creative. My creativity causes people to want to be a part of it.
Right.
That causes people to do better as a group. And I have discovered that when people do better as a group, they don't feel so isolated on their performance and more people do well together. And that comes from my competitiveness, which then turns it into passion, which causes me to give my gift.
Right. That was awesome. Awesome. What are some of the things people need to avoid while working on developing the right mindset?
Avoid the wrong people. Woo, you guys.
I told Neil you were going to say that.
Yeah, you knew that, right? You knew that. I mean, but that's why wisdom is so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not have to do with age.
Right.
That has to do with awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness is if I think it's critical for that person to like me, when I don't agree with that person, when I don't like what that person said, when I don't like how that person makes me feel, when I don't like the way that person makes me think or question myself, you have to be able to say, I love you. I love you. I just can't be around you right now. I love you, but I cannot be around you right now. You know, I am very particular around the speed that I operate and the speed that other people operate. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily mean like, because I do move like that. I know that I move like that. But other people can move that way in other things that they do. You know what I mean? It's like, can you make a decision? Can you operate in your best? But if someone's very lackadaisical, as if what they do doesn't matter, I move away from that person.
Right.
Because what you do matters.
Right. Right. That's a good one. That's a good one. Do you believe that it is important for people to recognize how they're feeling when they're dealing with their emotions?
Yes. Do I feel it's important to recognize how they're feeling
while they're dealing with their emotions? Because sometimes we ignore how we're feeling. And I think that it escalates negative emotions, bad attitude, you know.
Yes, that's really good, Nora, because we don't want to acknowledge it. We don't want to acknowledge it because it doesn't feel good.
Right.
It doesn't feel good when you don't feel good. It's
Right.
the same physically. It doesn't feel good when you don't feel good physically. And it doesn't feel good when you're anxious or you're depressed or you're frustrated or you're angry. All those bad emotions, or what we consider to be bad, or what we label to be bad, and not necessarily bad, but we label them to be bad. Those things, if you don't pay attention to them, they might cause you to say things or do things or be in places that you regret later because you did it when you were not aware of how you were feeling, and you didn't want to become aware because it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
But the awareness part is really important. I mean, really important. You know, you and I talk about this a lot, that if you become aware, you will feel the need for discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can feel the need for discipline and apply it,
Mm-hmm.
you have to apply it knowing that it doesn't feel good at the time you're applying it,
Mm-hmm.
but later it feels great.
Wow, that's awesome. So let's talk about how people allow their circumstances to affect their lives. Like it's almost like they freeze because they just jump right into all their circumstances and they can't see the possibilities. And
Right.
so it freezes them in terms of moving forward for the good, obviously.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
about that for a little bit.
Girl. See, this is what happened. Like the other day, this is true. Okay, so I watched Arsenio Hall interview Eddie Murphy, and they were doing this interview as if they weren't like really close friends, right? So, like, I know you know my deal, right? So, it's so funny, but I will tell you, circumstances can put you in a spiral,
Mm-hmm.
in a downward motion.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, friends really do make a difference to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that will grab you up and say, come on, get with the program. But friends come with friendship, and friends come with investing in them, and friends come when you know how to use your gift. That's why you need multiple friends,
Mm-hmm.
because different friends provide different things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to women who might be listening who don't have a lot of friends, I'm just going to tell you to be a better friend. Don't try to figure out what they need. Just give your gift.
Right.
Maybe your gift is cooking. Maybe your gift is lifting. Maybe your gift is encouragement. Maybe your gift is serving. Maybe your gift is sewing. Whatever your gift is, give your gift. And that friend will let you know that they need it. It's amazing what will happen. God did not give you that gift for you to hold on to. He gave you that gift to use. Because in those circumstances, when things get very dark, another thing that I know for sure is that when things are very dark, and they've been very dark, I don't think anybody gets to even 18 years old without things getting very dark in their life. And then you try 20, you know, 25, 30, whoo, dark days. So what I want to say is that the sun always comes up in the morning.
Right.
Oprah says, sunshine, faith.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun always rises in the morning, no matter how dark it gets.
Mm.
But if you lie in your circumstances, the most important thing you need to know is action.
Mm-hmm.
Action is required, even when it's the wrong action. Action will serve you great. Inactivity is truly the place where negative things develop.
Wow, that's awesome. So let's talk about how to let negative people go when they are constantly bringing you down.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about people, and then let's talk about family. Those two different categories, okay? And we have a hard time in both. So let me just first say that it's not necessarily easy to
Mm-hmm.
create the very important circle of influence. And some friends are hard to let go because friends that love you, that think they're a benefit to you or have been a benefit to you in the past,
Mm-hmm.
want to hold on to you because you're bringing the light. Remember, if you're positive, energetic,
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, you attract people to you.
Right.
And people who are feeling negative or want to build themselves up by putting you down or coming after you.
Mm.
And then there's the family members who you're called to love.
Sometimes.
And because of that unconditional love, sometimes they take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what I want to say that number one, it's not easy, but it's required.
Mm-hmm.
Creating your circle of influence is required.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there is a person, you might want to deny it, but it's true. You've moved away from negative people.
Right.
You've moved away from bullies at school. You've moved away from people when you got to college and you went into the dorm room and somebody said something to you, girl, that looks crazy. And you thought you were fine in the dirt going to that party. You thought you were fine, girl. And that girl told you didn't look good. You're like, what? Oh, I'm definitely not asking you for advice. And then you see somebody who's really rocking it out. I mean, their outfit is laid from right, and you're like, oh, I want to follow her. I want to follow her. And she, when you walk up and say to her, she looks great. She can't hardly hear you because she's so quick to tell you how fabulous you look. Right. I mean, you will be attracted to like a battery, like a magnet is what I want to say. And you got to step away from people who. Oh, here's the other people. Let's talk about real conversation. Let's talk about stepping away from people who talk to you in an emphatic way, like they know what they're talking about when they really don't.
Right.
That drives me really nuts. Girl, you can't do that. They close at 6 o'clock. She don't even know what time they close. she just talking to you because she feels it makes her feel better to tell you something that will serve you according to her standards when it's not true. So I go back to that statement, which is I love you. I mean, I really do love you. It's just in Christ. I love you, but I just can't be around you right now.
Right.
And Nora, honestly, you're like one of the best ones. You're creating a circle of influence, really. Right. And you've been a role model to us in many ways of how to love a person, but to not have them there when it doesn't serve you at that time.
Right.
Whether you like it or not.
Right. And I also think too that we have to be bold enough to be able, because sometimes people don't know. Yeah. And because no one ever addressed it with them. And I remember having a situation with a friend of mine, a church member, but every time I got off the phone with her, I didn't feel good. So one day I just took her to lunch and I told her exactly how I felt. Right. And she was like, wow, I had no idea that I was doing that. Thank you for telling me. My thought is people can't fix what they do not know. But once you tell them and they choose not to do anything about it, then that's different. And then it's time to, let that go.
Right.
Let that
That's a kinder way of doing it, Nora. Thank you.
Right.
Tell them first and then say, I just can't be with you right now.
Right. So how important is it that we surround ourselves with positive people that are developing the right mindset? It's like, I guess I always call it like-minded people.
Yes. Here's the rule. It's a rule. You become like the people you hang around. Yeah. Period in the conversation. It's just a period in the conversation. It's no denying it. They've shown us a zillion times. You become like the people you hang around. So if you hang around people who shine light, you're going to start shining light. If you hang around people who are negative, you will become negative. Every single word you deliver is either a flower or a brick. If you hang around people who just give bricks all the time, pretty soon you're going to start doing the same thing. You take on their mannerisms in almost every way. Now, there's a few exceptions to the rule. I can hang around people who can cook all day long, and I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to tell you, but I'm not going to get it because I don't want to get it. Right? So part of that is what you want to get, you will grasp. But I am very. I'm going to tell you something. I'm particular who I hang around, but I also am particular what I listen to. When people call me and they start complaining, I will say, no, I'm not going there today. I'm not going there today. And they're like, dog, and because they want to ride. And I'm like, no, I'm not riding because I know that that's not good. So people have caused me to pull up my game and I'm causing other people to pull up their game.
That was
because right now in this world, we have to be cautious, we have to be vigilant, we have to be smart, and we have to bring our excellence because it's now required. even more so than before.
Right. Right. Like I'm not the person that likes to watch the news all the time. I mean, if I watch anything is CNN, but even so too much of that, I just like shut the door, close it down because it begins to get inside of me and then it derails how I'm feeling or thinking. And so it's like, oh no, gotta look good.
You can't go in there and write a phenomenal book.
Right.
That's on your mind.
Right. Exactly. Well, Gloria, I want to thank you for being our guest today on Real Conversations with Nora. Are there any last minute comments that you would like to share with our audience?
I think that I love to connect with people. I hope they connect with me on my social media at Gloria Banks on Instagram. It's my favorite platform right now. And Facebook, I'm certainly over there. But the reason I say that is because there's so much coming at us and that we have to be very careful what we choose and where we choose. There's parts when you're working and there's parts where it's fun. I also want to say that right now, Nora, it's critical that we hear it all the time, but people have to decide what their self-care is. Like yesterday, I had a big event. Oh my gosh, I had a big event and I had worked all week on this event, like really tireless, night and day. I was working. So when it was over, I said, okay, I'm not going to work today. I'm done. It's not over. So then I went in the kitchen. I said, okay, I'm going to relax. About an hour into it, I looked at my husband, Ken. I said, okay, I'm done relaxing. This is the hardest thing I've ever done, man. Doing nothing is like crazy for an energetic person like myself, So you have to know what makes you happy. You have to know what brings you joy and some of that, because if not, you'll get caught. This conversation has brought me joy. And so I thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you so much. Well, once again, I want to thank you, Gloria, for your insight and your expert on the topic of emotions and mindset today. And to my Real Conversation with Nora audience, please follow me on social media on Instagram at BWOTMFG and on Facebook, because I do love Facebook, at Business Women on the Move for God. And visit my website at BWOTMFG.com and sign up for my weekly inspirational quotes. I want you to join us this year at our conference. The speakers are going to be amazing. The dates are September the 12th through the 13th. It will be virtual this year because of the pandemic. And again, you can register at BWOTMFG.com. And better yet, you can register by August the 15th. And guess what? Get a special gift. From who? From me. So I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Real Conversations with Nora. Have a blessed week.